Tyrese Haliburton, a 6'5" combo guard from Iowa State, made what is commonly known as the sophomore jump. He is one of many sophomores in this year's NBA draft who made a monumental leap in production going into their second college season. This leap in production now has Haliburton projected to go in the top 10 in this year's draft. The most notable areas of statistical improvement for Haliburton this past season were his efficiency inside and outside the arc, as well as his assist numbers. That increase in assist numbers reflects one of Haliburton's biggest strengths, which is his playmaking. Haliburton is great at making plays happen for others in the open court. He also showed the ability to make the right pass out of the pick and roll, even if it was a difficult read such as a cross-court pass because the defense was loading up too much in the help side. At 6'5", Haliburton can see and pass over the defense, and he also shows some creativity in order to make certain passes work, and it's very fun to watch. Another one of Haliburton's strengths is his defense. Haliburton is both a good on-ball defender as well as a good team defender. His size allows him to guard either guard spot effectively, and if he adds some strength, he should be able to guard some NBA threes as well. Haliburton is a true two-way player. Now when it comes to Haliburton's jump shot form, it is a bit unorthodox, but in terms of catch and shoot, Haliburton is good. Now although his playmaking suggests that he's a point guard, Haliburton might end up being better as a two guard in the NBA, and his catch and shoot ability suggests that he could coexist next to a more ball dominant guard, whether that's a point guard or a ball dominant two. Now although I've already explained some offensive strengths of his, I have to note his offensive feel. Haliburton's feel for making the right play, whether that's for someone else or for himself, is impressive on the offensive end. It's hard to put it into words, and it's something that you truly have to see in order to understand. Now we're kind of harping on some intangibles here, but his basketball IQ is good as well. There's a difference between having a good natural feel for the game and truly understanding the game on a deep level. Haliburton has both of those traits. And lastly, we've already touched on this a little bit, but Haliburton can play on or off the ball. With his size allowing him to guard either guard position, that makes him truly a versatile combo guard who has none of the weaknesses that normally plague most combo guards trying to play either guard position. A lot of combo guards struggle with being undersized compared to most NBA 2 guards. A lot of combo guards also struggle with not being a good enough playmaker to effectively play the point guard position. Haliburton has neither of those worries. This makes him very easy to fit into a rotation no matter what the rest of the guard core looks like. As far as his weaknesses go, the first weakness is something that Haliburton has in common with a lot of prospects in this draft, and that is that he needs to put on weight in the weight room. He needs to get stronger in order to hang with some NBA 2s and also to potentially increase his defensive versatility to be able to guard NBA 3s. He also gets bumped off his drive a bit too much, and if he adds strength, that'll definitely help him. He also needs to become better shooting off the dribble. While I've already noted that he's a good catch and shoot three-point shooter, his shot off the dribble leaves much to be desired. If he can improve his shot off the dribble, that'll make him a much more dynamic scorer in the NBA. I've already touched on his form being unorthodox, but it's a serious weakness of his, whether it's shooting off the dribble or catch and shoot. This might make it hard for Haliburton to get off three-point attempts against hard closing NBA defenders, which would limit his floor spacing ability and also make it harder for him to be a complete offensive player. Haliburton needs to eliminate wasted motion from his jump shot, speed up his form, all while trying to maintain the level of three-point shooting ability he showed in college. Another weakness is Haliburton isn't the best athlete. He has decent quickness, but he's another one of those guys that just doesn't really explode when trying to finish around the rim. This means he has to resort on some creative finishes in order to get shots off in the paint off the drive. This is something that's definitely hard to fix and could be something that limits his upside throughout his NBA career, but we've seen players with question marks about their athleticism become very effective in the NBA, but a common theme with those players is they're generally strong. Adding strength could help Haliburton offset some of his athletic deficiencies by allowing him to use his body a little bit more when he drives. And then his final weakness is that Haliburton struggles with his offhand. This will be something that I'll be looking for him to improve in the NBA. So now let's go a little bit more in depth on Tyrese Haliburton, and I'm going to lead off with what I think is the most important factor for his game. I think a main thing that he could do to really optimize his development would be to work on his shooting form. Now, he was a good shooter last year at Iowa State, but his shooting form is slow and it's going to be a little bit difficult to get off on the next level. The thing is, I like his follow through, I like his release, I like aspects of his shot, but he's not able to do much in terms of isolation scoring or, off the dribble as much as he potentially could, because defenders know he has a long jump shot. It takes a while for him to get it off, so they're able to kind of sag and play back a little bit more and take away the drive, knowing that they can still get a good contest on his jump shot. So I think if Haliburton is able to speed up his jump shot, that opens up all the other areas of his game, which we will talk about in this discussion. So I'll let Eric kind of break down some of the other skills he likes from Haliburton. Eric, take the mic.
Well, concerning his jump shot, it is a little unorthodox. He has his feet close together a lot when he jumps. Sometimes he's a little flat-footed. And like you said, it's really slow developing. So he definitely needs to improve that a little bit. But at the same time, I don't mind a little bit of a different shot if it goes in all the time, which he's money with it. So I wouldn't want to change it too much if he's comfortable shooting. Like you said, he might have a tough time getting shots off, so that would be an issue that he needs to correct.
Yeah, I just think he needs to get defenders out on him in order to make it easier for him to get around those defenders, get going downhill, and then he has a lot of skills that make it so that if he's able to beat his defender, he should be a very, very effective player, either scoring going downhill, going towards the rim, or creating plays for other people. So that's really the main thing, is just getting that defender out on him a little bit more so that he can have a little easier time driving the lane.
Yeah, in terms of his overall offensive game, I think he's one of, if not the most well-rounded player in this draft. He can pretty much do it all offensively. He can play make, he can pass, he can rebound effectively, he can score the ball. And I really like the guys who go back to school after their freshman year and show a huge improvement from their freshman year to their sophomore year. And I think that shows a good work ethic. I think that shows that they have the ability to improve their game and have a higher ceiling than they might have shown in the past. And I just really think that speaks volumes to someone like that who improves that much from one season to the next.
Yeah, and some of that work ethic, once he gets into the NBA, will need to come in the weight room. He is a bit frail.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of starting with his weaknesses here.
I feel like we're saying that a lot of prospects.
Yeah, I don't know what it
is. Just put
man.
on some strength.
That's a
or then you got some that are like Okoro, who are super strong, and then you got all these people who are definitely need to hit some weight rooms.
If only we had the bench press and the draft combine this year, because those numbers, I don't think they would be good. I think they might be record-breaking bad. I don't know if Haliburton could even get one rep on the bench press. I forget how much weight they put on that thing, but he does struggle with more physical guards, and he does struggle defensively in terms of just defending strong. He has good foot speed, good instincts. He's a smart defender. He's a big point guard, 6'5". If he's able to add strength, should be able to guard either guard position. That's the thing, though. He just needs to add strength to be a little bit more effective defensively, and then also to be able to get to the rim a little bit easier, because the problem with him right now is with his low jump shot, defenders sag a little bit, and then when he tries to attack, he gets knocked off balance a little bit too easily. So those two things I think are very, very fixable. Speeding up his jump shot as well as putting on strengths, I think those things are extremely fixable. That's kind of why I led with them, because once he improves those two things, I do really like him as a player due to what you said, him just being an all-around solid player. He had good assist numbers at Iowa State. He ran the offense well. He had good shooting numbers, shot the ball efficiently, shot well from three, improved his three-point percentage. He showed some craftiness in his game, attacking the rim. He can be a creative passer, too. It's not just basic passes. He had some impressive passes last season at Iowa State. And then defensively, he projects as a good defender if he can put on strength. So that's the thing. That all-around package, I think, makes his floor extremely high, especially considering how improvable his weaknesses are. I think he has an extremely high floor. He also should be a guy that's easy to fit in because I think he'll be able to play point guard or shooting guard on both sides of the ball. I think he'll be a guy that can play off a point guard as a shooting guard, and he has the proper size to play shooting guard, or he can be the point guard. We talked about this with Killian Hayes. You can pair him next to like a Lou Williams type of player who's a shorter shooting guard, who's not good defensively, who probably shouldn't be running the offense, but they're only like 6'2". So you can have Haliburton kind of be the point guard offensively, and the Lou Williams type of guy be the shooting guard offensively. But then on defense, you can have Haliburton guard the shooting guard if he needs to, and the shorter shooting guard can guard the point guard, just depending on whichever one's the better player. So I think in terms of like his fit in the backcourt with guards, I think he'll be a guy that can fit next to practically any type of guard in the NBA, and I think that is a very undervalued thing.
Yeah, I think defensively, he contests shots really well. I like his ability to close out. I feel like he's got good fundamentals there. He needs to do a better job of going through picks and navigating those. He's really bad at that. I think he's kind of bad at it offensively as well. He tends to drift back from the basket, which allows the defender to come back to him and get through the pick easier. So they're all correctable things. He has a little bit of trouble keeping guys in front of him at times, but I think that's just a matter of getting that strength and becoming more physical as a player. But yeah, I think, like you mentioned, he just fits in well with so many different teams, and he can become so many different things. Like, you can play him different positions, he can guard different positions. So those kind of guys are like a luxury to have on any team.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So hypothetically speaking, if he speeds up his release and his jump shot, in my opinion, I think he will be able to consistently get into the paint. He has a quick first step. He is a quick guard. I also like the pace he plays with. He can change pace a little bit. Although he plays quick, he's never too sped up, it seems like. He's generally under control, generally on balance, plays with a solid base. He also, on his pull-up jump shots, gets a lot of height just in terms of his jump, and has a pretty high release for as slow as his jump shot is. He kind of makes up with it with that high release. So if you're just kind of projecting him as a scorer, like hypothetically, he could potentially be a 20-point-per-game scorer if he's able to reach his upside.
Yeah, there were some issues, I guess, his freshman year with him not being aggressive enough, and he had to kind of force himself to be aggressive. Mm-hmm. So that would be the only thing I would say to that is he definitely needs to have more of an attacking mindset. He definitely showed that this year, and that's part of his improvement from his freshman year to his sophomore year was that attacking nature that he displayed. So if he continues to build on that and learns like, hey, man, I can score on these guys, I can get my shot off. He's got pretty good range. I think he'll be able to shoot fairly deep, even beyond the NBA range, as we've seen more and more players be able to do as they come into the NBA. And I just think overall he's about as solid as you can find in this draft. And I just think he's just going to be a really quality, above average starter in the NBA.
Yep, 100% agree. He's one of my favorite players in the draft. During this segment, I've kind of started to consider if I maybe have him a little bit too low on my draft board at 7. You could definitely make the case for him being top 5. Little side note, we will have revised big boards at some point right before the draft. Like, these rankings are subject to change. They're just where we rank the players currently, so it's not something that might not change. We'll do a little bit more research right before the draft, and we'll probably release a video on it just with our big boards. And the Haliburton's a guy that I can't see dropping him any further below this. I could definitely see him in my top 5. There's a chance he might fall on draft day if you believe some of the mock drafts and stuff that has been posted lately. He would be a steal around like 10th to the Phoenix Suns. He would be the perfect guard to pair next to Devin Booker in the backcourt, in my opinion. That would be the perfect fit. If he falls to 10, Phoenix that would be probably the best value pick in the draft, considering what Phoenix needs and considering how good Haliburton should be, and considering his fit with Devin Booker. So
that's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, that would considering how they finished the bubble, like that is a team to look out for, because they need a point guard for the future. But the thing is, Devin Booker handles the ball a lot, so you also probably want a guy that can play off the ball. You also probably want a guy that can guard both guard positions, since Devin Booker is a weak defender. So if you get a guy like Haliburton, who could be a good defender and guard point guards or shooting guards, you could have him guard the best offensive guard on the other team, and you could hide Devin Booker on the worst offensive guard on the other team. So that would be a perfect fit. Like I said earlier in this segment, he would be a great fit in pretty much any NBA team next to pretty much any guard. So I really love his game. I love his fit. I love how he projects on the NBA level. So that wraps up our draft profile on Tyrese Haliburton. Let me know what you guys think about Haliburton down in the comment section below. We like reading your comments on these draft prospects. And yeah, that's all we got. That's a wrap. So we will catch you guys in the next draft profile. Until then,